Hey everybody, welcome to the podcast for howtoraiseanawesomekid.com. I am Justin, and with me is Eric.
Hey.
Eric, how you doing?
Fantastic, man.
Great. So, it's been a while. We haven't done a podcast in, a month at least. And I know, you know what, the last one we did was before Valentine's Day. I remember that much. Because I remember, wanting to update you with how Valentine's Day went.
Yeah.
And check up with you on how yours went. And then, we never did.
I spent literally the past month just doing romantic things with my wife. Like take her to nice places and buying her flowers.
Wow, nice.
No, I'm just kidding. I think I might have changed the diaper for her on Valentine's Day, and that's about it.
Ooh, one diaper.
Yeah.
You put that one in the bank. That's nice.
It's probably a number one diaper, too, so barely counts.
Yeah. No, those don't count at all. You can use those as coasters when you're done. So, I'm kind of rusty at this, man. It's been such a long time. I don't even remember. You know what I did over the weekend is I listened to a bunch of podcasts because we had to go to a wedding out of town, so we spent a lot of time in the car. And I don't know. Sometimes I was thinking about our podcast, and we've kind of made a pledge to keep it family friendly, I guess, or at least you can listen to it in the car around your kids.
Yeah.
And I was starting to think, I'm listening to these other podcasts where anything goes. And I started feeling like, you know what? I feel like we've hamstrung ourselves. Like maybe we just can't really be. Maybe it's like the visual I was thinking of was like Darth Vader holding a kitten. Like it doesn't make any sense. Like it's got like a soft edge. It just doesn't go together. Maybe we need to just unleash it and just say whatever we want. No holds barred. But I got over that.
Yeah. Did you bring the kid with you on your road trip?
I did. Yeah.
Is he parroting things that he hears yet?
A little bit, yeah.
A little bit?
Yeah, a little bit. There was one moment where I think... No, I mean, he definitely is parroting regular words, but there was a moment where I think he did... I had an exclamation, a 4-letter exclamation, and he could swear he did the exact... He repeated it right after me, so...
Yeah, I mean...
I see where you're going.
That's my big argument for not doing it, is just because that's... Yeah, that's... Once they start going, they can get pretty embarrassing.
That's true. Yeah. So like I said, it was considered. So if anybody out there has been listening to this and kind of wondering, oh man, this podcast is pretty tame. It's not what I'm looking for in a parenting podcast. Just know that I have considered it, and I just briefly considered it again over the weekend. But we're gonna just keep it clean. So
yeah, I mean, if you think it's too tame, then maybe you shouldn't have kids. Because seriously, what kind of animals do you want to raise?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, some common decency.
Yeah, I was listening to You Look Nice Today. I think you introduced me to that one, right?
Nope.
No, you didn't? Oh, well, you should listen to that podcast. It's pretty great. Hilarious. It's really funny.
I've got like my favorite podcasts that I'm so far behind on right now. Yeah,
well, normally I only listen to one. I'll listen to the Giant Bomb podcast, and it lasts 3 hours, so that basically is the entire week.
Yeah,
I'll work through it a bit at a time throughout the entire week, and then it's time to download the next one. So I don't really listen to a bunch, but yeah, I got to listen to a bunch on this road trip. We were in the car for 9 or 10 hours total, so got to listen to You Look Nice Today, and of course a bunch of stuff you should know. What else? We listened to a few different I think the Motley Fool podcast, and a bunch of other NPR's Planet Money podcast, that type of thing. Radio Lab, I got to listen to, I think, half of one of those. I listened to half of one, and then my wife said, these people are weird, so we turned that one off. Actually, that's pretty much what happened. I had preloaded about 20 different podcasts, and as we went through them, my wife spoke up. She was sitting in the back of the car with the kid, and she would speak up and basically voice her opinion, so it was time to hit skip and go to the next podcast because she didn't approve.
Yeah, my wife gets tired of podcasts.
Yeah, but it's tough. You know what? I'm driving, so the driver gets to choose.
That's true. But I'm always listening to Comedy Bang Bang, and apart from that, I mean, that's really most of what I've had time for anymore. Every now and then I'll catch an episode of something else if it sounds interesting. Yeah. I think sometimes you just have to. I mean, I think you just pick the one that you like, and that's the one that gets the time. I mean, ours is short, so hopefully you can fit it in. If you've chosen ours, then thank you very much. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Speaking of, I think I still need to send a SpongeBob DVD to the fellow who first wrote into us.
Yes, I still owe that guy.
Okay.
I think his name was Mike. I still owe him something.
He's a great guy.
He is great, and we're obviously doing a terrible job of showing our appreciation.
So for both of the rest of our listeners, we really appreciate you, but we're very slow to show it.
We are.
But we do get to it.
We'll
eventually.
talk about it, and we'll beat ourselves up about it for a while.
Yeah,
but yeah, I remember. So I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I just say my dad had surgery on his elbow, so he's out of work for a month. And there's already been a week going by, and I was going to send him this big care package, and I've almost got everything I need packed up. And by the time it gets there, he's going to be probably about a week out from having to go back to work. And that's my own father.
But when I do that type of procrastination, the way I like, for example, if everybody else will call somebody in the family at the first thing in the morning on their birthday, and sometimes I will not get around to it until like 9 o'clock that night. But I feel like, what you've done for that person is that instead of just getting it all done at the beginning of the day and then like they're lonely the rest of the day, you just then you're coming at the tail end and giving them a little bit extra, like maybe something that they had already kind of counted out and figured it wasn't going to happen.
Yeah, so
then you step in and save the day.
So yeah, like at the last week of his FMLA, then I'm sure he'll be happy to get like 5 seasons of The Office, 2 seasons of The Wire, a couple seasons of The Sopranos. He'll love it.
Yeah. He'll just call into work and just take another week off.
Yeah, I'm sure they'd love that.
So what else is new, man? I remember the last podcast we did, I was extremely low energy. I had picked up some work. I'd actually stolen some work from an ad agency here in town. Work. Yeah, I was really happy about it, and so I was. But the end result meant that I had to kind of watch the kid during the day and try to get done what I could, and then put him down and work until about 3 in the morning every night for about 10 days straight. And which doesn't sound that bad, but it ended up being
maybe to you. Sounds terrible to me.
I was pretty exhausted by the end of it, and I think I needed probably a week and a half or so just to recuperate.
Yeah.
And I did a lot of video editing on a $400 laptop, and didn't even realize until maybe about a week into it that I could pull out a spare mouse and use that. I was doing it like on the trackpad.
Oh.
It's kind of like, imagine doing like it was using like Photoshop type programs, and so imagine trying to do Photoshop type stuff.
Yeah.
With your mouse, with your trackpad on your laptop. It was not smart.
Nightmarish.
Yeah, and so so it became very clear early in that I needed to get a new laptop, and I got a new laptop, but of course, being too super frugal, I bought a refurbished one, and waited forever for it to. It actually didn't get delivered to me until I was finished all the projects I was working on.
Yeah.
So it was like useless. I mean, it's still here. It's great, and that means now I can play some PC games. I guess pretty much everything out there I can play right now.
Excellent.
So that's exciting. That brings us up to our present, which is, I guess, part of the reason why Eric and I haven't been doing the greatest job of updating this podcast, is that we both kind of got into that XCOM game we talked about 3 or 4 podcasts ago.
I love XCOM.
Is really good. It's like it is. We talked about, what was the thing we talked about last podcast? Poker for nerds. XCOM is like chess for nerds, and you thought the chess already was for nerds. No. XCOM is like, I mean, it's a perfect little kind of futuristic alien killing game.
Well,
but
let's be fair. It doesn't take the kind of study that chess does. It's not that deep of a game.
That's true. Okay.
I mean, you can nerd out on chess far more than you can nerd out on this. But I've been nerding out on XCOM about as much as I humanly can.
Yeah. So it's a game. I'll just talk about it briefly. I mean, it's a game that's like it's futuristic and you kill aliens and stuff, and but it's all turn based, meaning like it's my turn, then it's your turn, then it's my turn. So instead of running around and shooting people like in Call of Duty or something like that, it's very much like you plan out your turn, you take it.
And you command a squad.
Yes, you take it, and then the aliens, the other player, they do their turn, and then you
if any of them
take
are
care
still
of the kid
alive.
for a few minutes. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
you go take care of your kid for a few minutes. Go, fix a meal, do whatever you need to do, and then it's your turn. So it's very low key, and I was able to kind of get away with doing a bunch of that. Not so much during the day with the kid, but it was a lot of me time at night after everybody was in bed.
Yeah, you said you beat the game. I'm still playing through it, but I'm having a great time.
Well, I should admit I played it on easy or whatever. It was even lower than easy.
Oh yeah.
Because you know what, I'm getting older, and I want to see the game that I paid for without getting frustrated. So I usually start off playing things on easy.
I'll play on normal, but if I've had a game for 2 years and haven't played it yet, I'll play it on easy. But this one, I've been on normal, and there's been a couple times when I've had my entire squad wiped out, and in my first game, I really didn't have anything backup. So all the other missions I had to do were all of high difficulty. So my squads would just get killed over and over again, and I ended up losing.
Yeah.
But this time around, I lost my squad once, but I survived. I survived that whole ordeal.
Well, that's good. Yeah. It's been a fun game. If you guys, if you're listening and you know what we're talking about, give it a shot.
Yeah, I wanted to play it when it came out, but it just kind of had the look of one of those games that's going to cost $20 within 6 months.
Yeah,
and it did, and it's well worth the $60 original price, but $20 is even better. That's like 3 times as worth it.
Yeah, I should say that was the reason why we both jumped into it, was because it dropped down to $20.
Yep.
And that's right around the range of like starting to be affordable to me. Like it's starting to be like, all right, well, this isn't a complete, like $60 to me that's a lot. That's a lot of money to spend on a game.
It is.
So, and on a game at this point, like at this point, it's like, all right, well, did I just take away like part of my that's like a quarter of my kid's textbook for something in college that I just spent on a video game.
It's a game, and we're grown-ups, so it's kind of hard.
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of hard to justify.
Exactly. So speaking of games, did you get into anything else?
I've been playing a little bit of Fire Emblem Awakening. Got that one for my birthday.
Oh, yeah? Yeah, I think you talked about that before. That's kind of the same deal, right? Isn't it turn-based kind of
turn-based strategy? When people die, they stay dead, just like XCOM. It's pretty good. It's a little more weird Japan-y, but to be expected. I mean, for a portable game, it's fun.
Did you get into? What's your plans for StarCraft? I know you're going to get into it.
I am, but eventually. I mean, I still haven't beat the first episode of StarCraft 2 yet.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I think I've gotten right around.
So I mean, because I'm saying we're bringing that up because that came out this week. Mm-hmm. So and then the other thing was SimCity. Are you going to get into that, or were you just? I know we had talked about that before.
Yeah, so. It looked way cool, but I am so scared off at this point.
You know what? It's so for anybody who's not listened or doesn't know what happened. So they released the SimCity, like the same old SimCity you probably played on a computer back in middle school. Mm-hmm. They came up with like a great new, super great new edition of it. And what they did though is they released half of it. You buy half of it, or not half of it. Let's say you buy most of it, and then the rest of it is on their servers. In order for you to play, in order for the game to become a whole piece of a game, a whole game, you have to log on to their servers where they kind of connect it together and make it one game. Which means that you can't play it by yourself offline. You have to go online to connect and make the game work. And when you have a game that I think the last one, SimCity 4, sold like 10 million copies. Mm-hmm. So when you have a game that 10 million people might be interested in, surprise, surprise, they all try to play at the same time, and it does not go well.
Yeah, it's like been out for 2 or 3 weeks now, and it's still really iffy running online.
Yeah, I mean, but the reason why I mentioned that is because that wasn't even really the reason why I don't want to play it. I just saw some people playing it, like some videos, and the little area you can play with your city is minuscule. It's tiny. Now, have you seen any of that?
I haven't.
Well, apparently their game plan was, to have these kind of 3x3 or 4x4 grids. You get your section, and then your section only has X number of, or so many of the resources, and so you have to trade with other people online, like real people. So it kind of forces you to interact and be social and that type of thing. So it's not really something. It's arbitrarily made. Your little city is arbitrarily small in order to make you interact and trade with other people.
Well, from what I've read online, it sounds like the game actually runs just fine on single player if you goof at the code a little bit. Where basically it just pings the EA servers, that's the publisher, EA, every 20 minutes to make sure that you're still connected. If you're not connected, then the game doesn't really notice until it does that ping. And really, it's a terrible deal, just because they're only doing it to keep to make sure that there's no pirates playing. Although any pirate with any kind of ambition has probably got it cracked and running on unauthorized servers anyway.
Yeah.
Nobody's ever going to beat piracy, and most of these whole DRM kind of things that companies do are just punishing the people who actually pay for it.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
That bothers me, and I still like to dust off old games. I mean, I was hooked on Silent Service 2 just about a year ago. I don't really like the idea that in 5 years EA is going to get tired of running servers for this game, and they're going to shut it down, and then the game I paid $60 is unplayable.
Yeah, that too is a problem. So I was thinking, I mean, obviously the reason why they do this is to make it. I mean, ostensibly they're saying they're doing it so that they can make the game more fun, and have to be online so you can interact.
Don't
with
tell
other
me
people.
what's fun, EA.
But in reality, they're doing it so that people can't steal the game. And so I would say at some point they have to say, well, at this point, are we losing more sales because people are annoyed with this whole situation that we can't play the game than if we had just basically made it so that you could play it offline, which means that people could steal it. Mm-hmm. I think we're kind of getting a little too into inside baseball at this point, but you know what I'm saying. That's kind of what's going on with that game.
As a grown-up gamer, I think probably what bothers me is that I buy a game and then it spends the next 6 months reaching for my wallet again.
Yeah,
I like the old games where you buy a cartridge and you throw them in the console and you play. XCOM, I think, is kind of in that spirit. And I know it's got a couple DLC things, but it's not waiving offers of upgraded weapons if I spend $5 or whatever,
Yeah.
It's not doing that.
No, yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I mean, I do enjoy buying something and then I get to see all of it, and then that's the end of it.
Yeah.
However, I also enjoy, like, if a game says to me, hey, if you liked this and you want maybe 20% more, give us $10 and you'll get to see 20% more. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with like games where they add on a little bit extra, more levels and that type of thing. I'm cool with that. But on the flip side of it, I don't know if this is like a real big thing now. I haven't really been playing too many like Android games, but as I understand it, like the games on Android and games in the App Store for the iPhone, the iPad, and all that, it's all it's really popular now to be like free to play games.
Yeah.
And this is something like you need to watch out with your kids, especially because the way it works is, and I'm sure they've probably put safeguards in place, but the game will be free, or they're called freemium or free to play.
Yep.
The game is free. You get your whatever, and you start to run around and do whatever, and then it's like, well, if you want more coins or something like that, or if you want to get upgrades, pay us $2 or pay us $4, and they just kind of nickel and dime you until it ends up being the cost of a regular game. And so they're doing this kind of in lieu of like advertising. What's that?
Or a small car.
Yeah, a small car. Yeah, I mean, I think there was some sort of lawsuit that was recently settled with iTunes and Apple because some guy gave his phone to his kid, and his kid just kind of ran up some charges basically making these little in-app purchases. Mm-hmm. So you gotta watch out for that stuff.
Yep.
I don't. It's great that for that guy that the judge kind of sided with him instead of with Apple, but I firmly believe that you are responsible for your kid's behavior on your phone. So it is your responsibility to either A, teach them not to do that, or B, put in some sort of pin or some sort of lock or something like that to keep them from doing crazy stuff like that.
Yeah, but surely no rational person would think that if they hand their phone to their 3-year-old kid, that it's going to cost them $10,000. That's nonsensical. I
don't know. I remember I used to work not tech support. Well, yeah, I worked tech support for a cell phone company, and you'd hear situations all the time where a kid or a parent handed their phone to their kid, and their kid racked up $1,000 in text messages or that type of thing, and it's like, well, I remember that the attitude from the parents was definitely like, how could you let my kid do this?
Right.
My response was always, how could you let your kid do this? I mean, I'm with you. I understand, like, you don't expect to rack up that much. So there is kind of an onus, I think, on both parties. And so maybe the blame needs to be split a little bit. Maybe not 50-50, 40-60, 30-70, however. But there should be some responsibility as a parent to make sure that,
I think there should be some responsibility, but at the same time, there should be a line. And I'm not a legal expert. I'm not one to really kind of help define this, but it shouldn't be so easy to rack up just huge charges. After a certain point, I don't know. I can't solve all the world's problems, but
yeah. When you start to get into like mortgage payment range, then that's okay. There should definitely be. I mean, that goes for ordering naughty videos off of your cable plan or however any of these things. Like, I think there should be some sort of safeguard when you hit like an extra, when your bill basically doubles, when you hit like an extra $100 or an extra $200 or something like that, then they should maybe give you a call and say, hey, are you meaning to order these bikini girls or whatever games it is that you're getting on your iPhone?
All I know is that when my son's old enough for a cell phone, he's getting the jitterbug.
Oh, are those little ones that only have like 4 buttons?
I think they're the cell phones for old people. That's why they have the name of an old-timey dance. And they have the giant buttons for the numbers.
They don't. The phones aren't called the Charleston. Are you sure?
The 23 Skidoo. They're the kind of phone that you see advertised on The Price is Right. Sandwich between catheter commercials.
Wow. Okay. So, do they have an all-in-one unit? Can my catheter call me if it's running if it's too full or
it'll vibrate?
Oh, jeez. So tell me so this is a phone like same deal as got 4 buttons or what does it do?
It's got I'm assuming 10 buttons.
10 buttons.
Gotcha. Well, no, they usually have 12. They've got that pound and the other button.
So may as well we'll call it an even 14.
It's kind of the opposite
10 digits,
of a smartphone.
pound, star, and then green phone, red phone.
It's like, you know what this is? It's a phone.
Yeah.
It calls.
Okay. It's an ultra dumb phone.
Yeah.
We actually, when I worked at that cell phone company, we had a 4-button phone, and there was a picture of a mommy and a picture of a daddy and a picture of I think the police and one other, I think, like your house or something like that.
Yeah.
And that was what the kid got, and that was all the phone was good for.
Yeah.
It was just calling those 4 places. And I don't know. I could get behind that.
Sure. Why not?
Who knows? I don't know.
Support it.
I've heard stories of kids that I'm related to who got a hold of their parents' smartphones and immediately started Googling lady parts.
Yeah.
To put it gently. These are kids that are less than 10 years old. So, it's a whole new world. I don't really know what to do as far as kids and cell phones. I guess we'll figure this out. We'll get back to you guys.
It's day by day, man. Everything's just day by day.
Yeah.
I got my son to bed today, and he's still alive.
That's true. That should
and
be
he
the goal.
hasn't been exposed to pornography.
That's true. All right. Well then, win-win-win.
Yep.
So there's so many different things that I remember I wanted to check in with you on, and I just haven't. I mean, I wanted to talk about for a while about one of the projects I got into. So after I got finished doing all that work, that kind of like cram session of work, and I kind of took a week to recoup. One of the things I did during the week, kind of as a hobby, was I went and backed up all of my family videos and family pictures. Kind of shopped around and figured out what the best way to do that was. I mean, one of my goals was I want to make it easy to kind of get pictures from my phone to some sort of cloud service without having to connect my phone to anything. I found that Flickr is pretty great for that. Flickr allows kind of people to develop their own apps to do that type of thing. So whether you have Android or iPhone, it ends up that we have 15 or 20 gigs of photos.
I think iPhone does all that stuff automatically.
The iPhone does that? Oh, yeah. You guys probably have an iCloud service.
They've got the iCloud photo stream.
I think so. When I looked into that, the limit was 5 gigs.
Yeah, I don't know.
And like I said, we're already up to 20 gigs of. I think 15 of the gigs of those pictures are pictures of this kid, and the other 5 are from our wedding.
Yep.
And we do have them stored here in the house, but it's always kind of well, what would happen if there was a fire? And it used to be we'll grab that hard drive and run, but now we have a kid.
Yep.
So it's all right, well, we got to grab the kid first. And if we still have a spare hand, maybe we'll grab that hard drive. But otherwise, maybe we should just go ahead and back this thing up.
Back it all up.
Flickr is $25 a year, and it's unlimited picture storage. Unlimited. There's no size cap. They do have a size cap on videos that can only be 90 seconds long or less.
Are we getting paid for this?
We're not. No. I'm just letting you guys know because I went through and I researched a bunch of different options.
This is a freebie Flickr.
Yeah, sorry. And I also say that Google Drive, I had a whole bunch of kind of family documents, our will, and videos and stuff like that. Those are all on Google Drive, which is, $5 a month for 100 gigs. So I'm just cutting to the chase. I could tell you guys all the different services that I researched and tried out. But I'm just letting you know that, it seems that Google Drive and Flickr were kind of the 2 best options as far as costs and value and ease of use. That's our Justin's computer corner.
All right, man.
What else is new, man? Did you have anything else?
No, not too much. Just as I was telling you kind of before we got started, I'm recovering from being sick for about 3 days, so
yeah,
I'm about ready to fall asleep.
Well, I'll wrap this up soon for you, man. The last thing I was going to talk about, you and I were going to do a podcast last week, and one we were thinking we were going to do, I think we were going to podcast while I deleted all of the old website stuff.
Yep.
You and I started websites. We started working on a bunch of different stuff. I think in 1999.
Yeah,
and,
that's accurate.
I actually registered. website that doesn't really exist right now, but it's plinkomedia.com. I registered that like in 2000, I believe. So that's been around for a very long time. And I hosted a forum there for a while, and then I kind of hosted a forum for another site that we worked on, Nintendorgs, for, I don't know, 7 or 8 years at least, maybe more. And what happened was sometime last week, all of a sudden, something was started hammering the site, and my host contacted me and said, you know, your quality points or something like that are affecting the rest of the people on your server and making their websites go offline. So we need to do something to fix this. So I looked into it. We tried everything we could, but ultimately what we had to do was I had to say goodbye to those guys who had been on my website for a while. It's a community of, I don't know, 600 folks.
Yep. They
all had to go away. And then after they left, I went through and deleted everything. So, I mean, we're talking stuff that's been around for 12 years now. Just went through and deleted all that stuff. It was good. It was pretty cathartic.
Those ones and zeros were pretty well nestled in.
You know what? I'll say quickly about this community because I had this thought and how it relates to your kids. This is a community that the one that I was hosting that I actually had pretty much kind of detached from a while ago. They were pretty abrasive. I think there was times where, you know, hosting that for 12 years was $1,200. So sometimes I'd step in to try to like recoup the cost, put in some advertising in. And to this day, I actually can't have a Google AdWords account or a Google AdSense because like within 48 hours after I tried to put ads on the community, they abused it and got my account banned like forever. Oh. They're always very abrasive when it came to like any type of change, basically. And I remember, well, not I remember, but last week when there was an issue and obviously we needed to move them, I said to them, you know, I said, guys, why don't you guys try going over to this like neutral community that's already kind of hosted. You wouldn't have to worry about these types of problems anymore. And I got 5 responses from people who were just like incredibly against it. In fact, one guy, and I'll bleep this out. One guy said that he would rather have his throat than have to do that.
That's extreme.
Yeah. So it was it was just a moment where I realized, you know what, this is a community that I probably should have detached from a long time ago. I think when you have, and I'll bring this back home, I think when you have friends or people who you think are friends or a community that you're hanging out with, and they stop kind of making you feel good about yourself and they start kind of like making you feel pretty terrible, it's probably a good time to just go ahead and detach. At the same time, I was reflecting of like friends I had in high school who, I mean, your friends should actually kind of challenge you. We have friends right now who are kind of challenging us, and you too. You're challenging us to run. We're planning to do 10Ks. So your friends really should be doing a good job, like helping you improve your life, and not necessarily detracting from it. So yeah, that's kind of a roundabout way to say. I don't know how I'm going to instill that in my kid, but that would be the point eventually. Is to, you know,
they'll figure it out in their mid-30s.
Yeah, hopefully not. Hopefully I'm gonna give them a shortcut now.
No. You don't give them shortcuts. They're gonna take just as long as our dumb heads took to figure it out.
All right. Well, why are we doing this podcast then? What's the point if we're not gonna help them out at all?
Because some
then
people
they can listen to it when they're in their 30s.
Wind.
Yeah. No, they'll probably just so they can auto tune it when they're in their 20s. It'll be hilarious.
Dumb old dads sing the news.
Exactly. All right, man. That's all I had. I think that was kind of the Reader's Digest condensed version of everything I was going to talk about. I want you to go back and relax and feel better, get better, heal up.
Yeah, it's 9:30, man. I'm going to bed.
All right, man. I will talk to you again soon. You guys listening, you know, the podcast is where it always is, howtoraiseanawesomekid.com. You can email us at podcast@howtoraiseanawesomekid.com. We have a Twitter feed. We have a Facebook, sort of. So, you know, follow those things. I don't know why, but mostly we have those things so that people can find out about us. You already found out about us, so we don't really need you to follow us, but do it anyway. That seems to be a thing. Yeah. All right, Eric. Thanks for talking to me.
Yeah, no problem.